Okay, I wanted to make some notes on the E93 in particular water pump replacement. I'm going to do a water pump job and the thermostat. And so I got an E93 convertible, obviously, and the differences here that I've seen from other YouTube videos, this might help somebody out who also has some of this stuff. This is also an M-Sport Edition, so I don't know if these braces are part of the M-Sport Edition. They might be, but it helps to remove these to get to the water pump. And so there's a 18 millimeter right here. There's a 16 millimeter here, another 16 right there, and then way down on the side, right near my jack stand, you can get to it without undoing this. So right in here, there was another 18 millimeter bolt. So once you take those out, you can remove these braces out of the car and get yourself some more room. Next, I'm going to move these power steering fluid lines out of the way, and to do that, there's a 10 millimeter nut on top of this piece right here that holds the bracket in place, and then you can take the bracket off with the lines, and that's a lot easier than trying to take it off from this rubber bushing right here, because that thing will just spin. Then you can take off the 4 13 millimeter nuts that are holding up the sway bar, and then you can just let that hang down. Next, I'm going to drain the fluid by undoing this clamp on the back side of the pump. I'm going to try to do this without taking off the intercooler, which is blocking the drain valve for the actual radiator. So I'm going to do it that way, and we'll see how it goes. Once you crack it loose, you can go up top into the engine bay and just open up the reservoir cap to release some of the pressure. Okay, now that most of it's drained out, it's still dripping a little bit, I'm going to take the thermostat off. And so that's two 10 millimeter bolts right here, and then the thermostat should become loose. And I'm going to leave this hose attached. This is just a little hose that you use around like this. So this is the one I took off to let the fluid out. I'm going to leave it on the other side just for now. I am replacing the thermostat, but I'll take that off later because I can't get to the actual 6 millimeter flathead bit to get it off. So these have already loosened, and they're just short little bolts. Next, I'm taking off the electrical connection, and that you just push in on the side here and then pry it off like that. I'm just going to shove this up here to get it out of the way. Okay, next, the electrical connection with the thermostat. You just get a flathead in there and you pry up this back piece right here. Be very careful with it, you don't want to break it. And then you can pull the electrical connection straight down. Next, I'm going to take out the two E12s at the bottom. There's one I've already taken out, and then this other one. These are E12. Okay, next I'm going to reach up from the front and remove this hose from the thermostat. It's on the front side of the thermostat, and to do that I'm just going to stick a long flathead up there and push off these little clips. This is a press-on fitting. It's not a doesn't have a band clamp on it, so you just push up on both sides of this hose and the clip will come off, and then you should be able to pull the hose towards the front of the car while holding on to the thermostat and get it to disengage. Okay, in order to get some leverage on that back or the front tube up here, I used, let's see if I can get it in the shot here, this with an angle to pry, reach up in here and pry that tube off of the thermostat. And I also put one of the nuts or the bolts back in to hold the thermostat in place on the housing of the pump. And so that gave me enough leverage to be able to pry that tube off. Be aware there will be more fluid that comes out, so watch it. You'll get wet. The last E12 bolt is really kind of a pain in the butt, and you just got to do it by feel, if unless you want to take a bunch of other stuff apart. So I got a long extension here on my 3/8, and then I got a wobble socket. I'll show you what it all looks like. And then I got the E12 up at the top, and I kind of felt for where that E12 bolt was, and I engaged it, and now I can unscrew it, and you can see I've kind of wedged it in between this cross brace and this pipe here, and you can fit it in there and get it out. It's just a pain. Okay, here's the extension and wobble socket I used for those E12s. It's basically about a 10-inch extension, and then a universal joint, and then the E12. Okay, here I've already removed the pump, but the last thing you need to do before you do that is remove this one last hose, and there's just a normal hose clamp on that. I just couldn't get a good video of it while the pump was still in place, but you can reach a flathead screwdriver up through this U piece of hose right here and get to, at least mine was clocked in the right direction so I could reach it. Now to remove the thermostat, there's two more, or one, let's see, one more hose? I think there's one more hose up there at the top. It's hard to get a picture of, but you'll have to feel around for the hose clamp and then get it off with either a flathead or a 6mm. Okay, these last two hoses are probably the most difficult. This one is just a clip. You have to remove the metal clip that goes in here to trap it in place, and then you pull the hose off. This one over here is a normal band clamp style. You just got to feel for it and get up there with a small screwdriver or a 6mm. It goes back in kind of in this orientation. And then what I did is I just reversed that to get the new one up in there. So I put this piece in first, and that is clocked, so you can only put it in one way, and then that ring will snap back into place. And then this one, I just put the band clamp on the hose, moved it up the hose enough to get it out of the way, and then I forced this hose down onto here and then tightened it down with a 6mm. So you can see that is all up here, and those two hoses are up on top and you can't really see them, but you got to do a lot of the stuff that's up on top by feel because you can't see much of it. Then I lift the new pump up into place and just hand tighten these bottom two, leave them a little bit loose so you can wiggle it around, and then get to the top one. Again, I used that long extension with the wobble and came up in front of this bar here, in between the bar and this tube, and with my fingers felt for the E12, and I got the wobble extension on there and then tightened it down. These are new bolts that come with the pump. It says to definitely, there's instructions that come with it that tell you to only use these bolts that come with it, or it gives you a BMW alternate part number, but it says not to use the original aluminum bolts that you took out. So make sure you use those new ones. And then tighten down the bolts, and you can put the top clamp on the pump here, and tighten that one down. And then I connected the back or the front slip-on connection to the front of the thermostat, and then I put the 2 thermostat bolts in here and tighten those down. I don't know the torque spec on that, but they're only going into like a plastic. They just have to hold the thermostat on there, so I don't have to tighten them down too much on that. And then the last one will be this U connection that goes from the thermostat to the pump, and then the electrical connections. Okay, after the top hoses and the front hose, everything else is pretty easy. Make sure that you route the wire around the right way. It's got to go over the top and then down to here. If you forget, like I did, to put that clip on, you got to transfer the clip that holds the wiring to the pump onto the pump, the new pump, from the old pump. And then but there's a clip that's up there in the front, right below the E12 bolt up on the top. It's like clipped onto one of these edges. If you forget to transfer it like I did, you can fit your fingers up there and transfer it over after the pump is already in place. It's a pain in the butt, so try not to forget that. You will have to take off the thermostat front hose again to get your fingers up there to be able to put that clip in place, and then route the wire through. Then make the connections on both the pump and the thermostat, and make sure you tighten down these 2 for the little U piece of tubing that goes there, and then get out your 50-50 mix of BMW coolant and distilled water and fill up the car. Once you got the radiator coolant reservoir filled up to the max level, then go ahead and get in the car, hit the ignition twice without having the foot on the gas, so it just turns on. The engine doesn't turn on. And then turn the heat on low and hold the gas pedal for 10 seconds, and that'll cycle the pump to purge the air.